so what we're looking at on the screen right now is our Service Manager module, which was designed to maximize time, keystrokes, productivity, etc., maximizing the information that any customer service rep or someone in support needs to have when they're taking a call, answering an email, or taking in web service requests as well. Reducing the number of screens, etc., that you need to navigate in and out of to have the information to be able to provide the customer the answers that they need. So what we're looking at, the first part here is what we call our Service Console. And a couple of key things here that I just want to talk about, basically the layout and architecture of this. At the very top, you'll see that we have some filters configured. The name of the customer, the case number, asset serial, and contract name, etc. These can be configured to be whatever search criteria that you need to be able to bring up the customer information quickly to do your role. Name is pretty common. You could have contact name here, etc. So what's going to happen is I'm going to enter some key information here, and what will happen is it will restrict the information that we then view in this screen, making it very quick and easy to be able to address those questions. Now the next part that I just want to talk about is what information we're displaying out of the box in the Service Console. In the upper left quadrant here, because I'll just scroll down, and you'll see that there are four quadrants of information currently being displayed. The first one is companies and contacts, and you see that these are accounts, and I could quickly open one of these accounts and see all that information that's stored natively out of Microsoft CRM and Powertrak against accounts. When I restrict the information by the company or contact, it will also restrict the related cases. So I'll be able to quickly see, and I'll show you that in just a moment, what cases are unique to that organization. But directly from here in related cases, this is where I can either create a new case and populate that information right from here, or we also have added in a scripted case. So if you have excuse me, if you have especially like new individuals on your team, or you just want to ensure that the data captured is consistent, we can have this launch a script, and it will walk the customer service rep through the questions of the information you want them to capture. Customer name, product, what the issue is, things like that. So you can either just have them create the case or have a scripted case. Now this can be configured to either show here to be displayed if you're going to take advantage of that functionality, or not. So it can be configured that that's not even there, but it is functionality that we deliver out of the box with Service Manager. In the lower left, we have the related contracts. So as we bring up that account, it will only display the contracts that are unique to that account and to their products that they, to their assets that they have associated with them. And you'll be able to easily view the contract to ensure that the asset that they are calling in about is under contract or not. We do have the ability to launch a new contract from here. And again, this can be controlled by security, so that you could only have certain individuals be able to actually create a new contract, or we could take that off so that new contracts are not allowed to be created from here. On the lower right, we have the related assets. So when we bring up the account, all the related customer assets that they currently own will be displayed. Now those can also be assets that are not only owned and have been purchased from you or the vendor, but also if they have third-party products, we also support managing assets that they have purchased through other organizations as well. Here, we can either add an asset to their account, or we can also do a return. So again, the value here and the purpose of the console is to have all this functionality quick and easy and not have to leave the screen to invoke these actions that are very important in service organizations with customer support. Now, a big key feature here that I just want to bring to your attention is knowing that you are using Navision for your financials. Using Application Builder we can of course leverage any information that resides in an external system or another system that can be displayed in this console. So if you wanted financial information, for instance, regarding a specific account displayed for the customer service rep, perhaps their past due, some financial information that would help them make some decisions or just to be aware, we could configure that information to be displayed in one of these quadrants, or you could add up to 2 more additional quadrants, of course, reducing your screen information. But you can expose, again, the key thing here is just to know that you can expose any information that might be in a system that your customer service reps would benefit from, and that could be right here in your console. So we can configure this, the layout, the data that's exposed in any fashion that you want that makes sense and what's quick and easy at the end of the day for your service reps. So any questions so far? No. Oh, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and what I'm going to do is bring up an account. So if we think about the process that we're going through, and very similar to what you're doing here is the customers, let's just example calling in, and we need to quickly find them. So what I did is I entered A1 because it's A1 systems, and it quickly brings up the customer information, and again, all of this is able to be configured to store the data fields that you need. We can quickly look at who the contacts are. So I can then either choose that this is John calling, or if we would have additional list of contacts, or I could add in a new contact if I needed to. Any activities that they currently have open. So if we had open service activities, I could quickly look at that and look at the status. Perhaps he's calling to see a status of the case. And if we have any quotes open for them from a sales perspective, I can also see that, and also any orders. Again, these tabs could be configured to display whatever information that you need, or not displayed at all. Okay. So what happens when I have this account here is that it is restricting the cases on the right, as you can see by the customer field, to A1 systems, and we have a list of all of their current cases. So I could go ahead and take a look at that. I just want to show you then at the bottom, you see that it also restricted the contracts that they have, as well as the current assets that they own. So let's just go ahead and open up one of these cases, and I'm just going to show you what information and what we can do from the case screen. I'll make this a little bit bigger here. Okay, so from the case screen, we are capturing obviously the customer, the individual that's calling, and we are capturing where the case came from, web, phone, email. Also, we have put in category information. Now this is key. We can put in, this can be categorized by and subcategories. So for instance, it can be hardware, but then what is the subcategory? And some of that can be driving who you assign this to. So if you have different groups of people who only work on certain types of cases, the system can then say, when I choose hardware and specifically video card, it can then automatically assign it to a team member that is a resource for those particular support calls. So that basically you are routing the call to the right skill set immediately. We're capturing case type, and of course these are all user defined, that we can populate these for whatever types of cases that you need. And status, and then also the assignment information. If there's any follow-up that needs to be done, I did notice that you have potentially an activity that needs to be assigned to a second level tier technician. One of the things we can do is we can create a service activity or follow-up right from here. Again, not having to leave the screen, so I could click follow-up and go ahead and create that service activity or appointment and assign it to that individual right from here. The other thing that we can do, again, all in the case screen, is look at the contract information, go ahead and populate that, the asset that we're taking the call on, and it would populate. We do support serialized assets. So if it was just a typical case where there's not any billing involved, perhaps because it's covered under contract, we would pretty much have this case populated. But we do support billable or project type cases as well. So in this particular case, we have project, and we have this as support project. So if it's going to be a billable or a time and a billable support case, we have that right here within this case screen. Again, not having to leave the screen. So once we have captured the information about the case, and we can also capture notes, which I just wanted to bring up because I noticed that was in your document. We can quickly click to add a note or an attachment just by clicking here, and it will bring it up, and I can add any type of attachment, and it will store that in its native form and be available to anyone who has the ability to view the case, can view the note. The key thing, of course, with cases is now that we have the case at hand, we need to schedule someone to go ahead and work on this case. Again, not having to leave the screen, what we can do is just quickly click Schedule, and it's going to bring us to our service activity. So the customer is following in. I would need to pick the service and the resource. So let's just say it's engineering. The resources could automatically populate, or if we were working, say, with an external vendor that always did our engineering work, that could be populated, or I could choose that as well. Because out of the box, from a service perspective, we support the ability to have internal resources who are working on your cases, but we also support the ability to schedule and assign cases to external either subcontractors or vendors, if you will, that are also providing work for your customers. And then we can do the requested time. We can either put in when the customer would like us to do the service, or if your project owners know when, after looking at the case and they know kind of the general time that it's going to take to do the case, they might be able to just go ahead and say find available time, and then choose from the results of who is available. So of your internal or external resources, who can start working on the case within the time frame that you need to happen, and then go ahead and quickly just go ahead and schedule it from here, and it would then create that service activity on the calendar. Also then, if you went to the calendar, you could look at it and ensure there were not any conflicts. Now that's another thing that it's a choice in the organization whether you want to allow people to overschedule or not, kind of just depending on how the individuals who manage the calendar are going to manage those activities, because perhaps they could be working on more than one thing at one time. So just getting back into the case information that we're capturing here, I talked a little bit about projects. And so, for instance, what you see here is project time. And this is going to be related to the project that we chose here. So it's our support project. Now, of course, we're going to capture time that we have worked against that project and all the individuals who have worked against it. And then from there, you could actually report, and with our time and billing module, which is an add-on to service, you could then use that to actually bill. So what we're capturing here from a time entry is who the individual is, the project. If you had phases or different increments, you can enter those, what the work date is, the rate, the hours, the duration, and any comments that they might want to store. If they need to go ahead and enter time against the project, they just click the new time entry and go ahead and enter that same information. So then you're capturing all the hours that were worked against this project against this case. And if you need to share that information, of course, we're fully integrated with Microsoft Office products, and you could export this to Excel and pass that on to anyone who either needed to run a report or to bill off of that. We certainly could do that as well. Okay, so that is the data that we're capturing from within the case. Now I talked a little bit about this scripted case. So I'm just going to go ahead and click a new scripted case and walk you through what we're talking about here. Now, one of the things I saw that in your screen is that you do capture how long it's taking you to do the case. We certainly can capture that information as well. I currently have that configured here. The call could start immediately when the case is launched, or if you want it to be manually invoked after they've done research or whatever it might be that before they want it to start, I can delay that and have it as a manual start. So what we're talking about here is that script. So you would choose the questions. We would configure it to have the questions that you would want to be asked and captured from the customer over the phone. Basically capturing, who is calling. And I can look up the person that I have on this phone to see if they're already an existing contact. And if that is who the contact, I can go ahead and just click and it will populate that information. And then I can just go ahead and say next. Now we have on here how would they like to be corresponded with, phone, email. I could capture that information. Who is the customer for this particular case? And then I will just move forward. Select the category, and again, when I do this, it's going to, a couple of things, only restrict to the subcategories we have configured for hardware. And then based on that, and I can put my title in for the case, it's going to then assign it to the individual that supports that particular hardware and within the case. Now I'm not sure what's happening here. I think this is just a minor delay before it's going to display.
No problem. Kim, just a question in the meantime.
Yes.
This is a different looking environment. Is this the portal, or is this?
This is what we have in service. We have an add-on module for contact center that you can add on, but we also have some of that functionality embedded in service. So you saw when I actually launched this scripted case, what you're seeing here is we're leveraging some of the contact center functionality. So this is still within the internal the internal facing, the employee facing environment. We have not gone outside to a portal, if you will.
Okay.
But it's a good question that you raised, because if we do go to the portal, you could in essence have the same. When the customer enters their self-service case from the portal, you could have them walk through, the similar set of questions so that they're entering as much information, such as, the asset they're reporting on, and the text about what they're reporting on, any notes, etc., as that's then pushed to you, so that you have the maximum information. So the very similar thing can be external-facing or customer-facing as well.
Okay.
The goal here of showing you this is just to show you what happens when you can either do just a case like it is out of the box as we see on the other screen, or you can do a scripted case. So that functionality is there out of the box to leverage, but again, you can turn it on or off. Okay. So you may not have a use for it, but it does come in handy for people that are new or for, in a training type of environment. So I want to make you aware of what it is doing and what's available. Yeah,
very good. But I was just wondering, not necessarily for our organization, but in general.
Right.
The case, entering the case, and what you were showing before is the SMA module, and what you were just showing is the call center solution. Or?
Well, no, I haven't gone outside the service module.
It's all service module.
Yes, this is only service module.
Oh, I thought it was a combination, but.
Well, what we've done is we've just enhanced service, leveraging some pieces of the functionality that reside in contact center, but it's not the entire contact center module. So, we are just showing service.
Okay.
So if someone purchased service module, i.e. yourself or one of your customers, all of this functionality is there.
Okay, great.
Another module. Yep. Yes, good point. For as you said, for yourself and for future customers. As we start to look at when the customer calls in, what contract they have or for the asset that they're calling in on, we can quickly look at what contracts they have. And also, key from here is to be able to renew that contract if that's coming up within, say, 30 days or whatever your contract timeframes are. You might send out notifications that it's coming up to be renewed. And then you can manage that a couple ways. One, we can actually renew the contract from here, and again, you can, through security, allow certain individuals to have that ability or not. Or you could also put this out on the web portal for your self-service and allow them to go ahead and log in. They would see that their contract's coming up for renewal, and allow them to go ahead and renew that contract right online. And then, of course, it would show up immediately in CRM and service here that they actually that they renewed that contract. So that is additional functionality that can be done right from here. You can cancel it. You can copy it if it's going to just be the same. Everything's the same. They're just renewing it just to make it a little bit easier. Or if you wanted to copy it, but now they're going to have additional contract lines, additional assets are going to be covered under this contract, but everything else remains the same. Just making it, again, quick and easy to renew and recreate your contracts. So within the contract, we're also looking and capturing cases that are related to that contract. So every time you create a case against a contract, against an asset, it is tracking those so that you can do, reporting off of, how many cases, how many incidents did we have. It's also reducing those if your contract is based on incident count. So you can have your contract based on either incidents, or let's say you're going to sell them a contract and it includes 100 support incidents, or it's going to include 100 hours. So if it's an incident, then each case that you are logging against that contract, it's going to then deduct that so that you know at any time when they're entitled to service, or when their contract is coming to the point where there's maybe only 5 incidents left, and the individual can then let them know that and ask if they want to renew at that time. Also very good for reporting purposes. Some customers want to know in the last year or the last 6 months, how many cases or hours have we used as they're thinking about renewing their contract, because they either may want to increase their coverage or decrease it, based on their amount of usage within the last time frame. In the asset area, we are tracking asset information such as the product description, the serial number, the customer information. Oops, my screen went away there. And again, we're tracking back to what contract is this asset covered under, and what cases have we logged against this particular asset. So as you can see, we're tracking a lot of analysis by contract, by asset, cases by asset, by contract. So you can really do a lot of great analytics around your organization to better manage. The other thing that we can do here, again, reducing your clicks, is if you allow your products to be returned, your assets to be returned and or replaced, instead of having to go out and create a separate return screen, we can actually manage that by doing a return. In essence, it's a return order with an order type of return. So we're leveraging orders, and our customer information will come in here. We can either do a return, or if they also want a replacement, we can go ahead and choose that replace. Now, to actually push this over as a replacement or a return to be able to be invoiced and processed in the financials, we would go ahead and use Scribe to do that. Excuse me. The asset then would be updated in the assets quadrant, so that in each one of these, we can look at what the status is, or the state. In this case, this one's is being replaced. These two have actually been returned. So at this time, this particular customer actually doesn't have any current assets on record. One is being replaced, and we don't have that replacement asset showing up yet with a status of active. Outside of the Service Manager, We also ship excuse me, approximately 30 reports around support. And so I'm just going to show you what we ship there. Just going to our advanced reports, and I do have a query saved for support reports. That's just the category that we have labeled them as. And these are Powertrak reports that we've created using SQL report writing services. And again, these can all be modified, or you could certainly create your own. But we've basically gone through and created what we felt that in the industry the majority of customer service organizations need from a reporting perspective. Activities by rep, contract summaries by service level, by date, support activities by rep, your time to resolution, so your open to close, how long is it taking you to open a call to end a call, and that kind of thing, both in charting and traditional reporting. So that is also available, not again just for your knowledge, but also as you're speaking to your customers about service, that we do ship these right out of the box.